What's up, everybody? So today we're going to be going over how to find the true value of a home. Whether you're listing your house or buying a house, you should be looking at it the way an appraiser should look at it. So a lot of people want to look at the Zestimate or whatever, and those aren't always exact. Sometimes they can be in the ballpark, but they're not always exact. So I took some appraisal classes. It's not a requirement for us, but it's something that I was interested in, and I'm going to share some of the data that they gave us. Now, I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details because a lot of that can be extremely boring, but we're going to hit some major highlights of what to be looking for, so that way you can kind of know how, as a realtor, I'm looking at comps. Now, not all realtors do this, but it's one of those that we're going to go through a way that an appraiser looks at it. But before I get into any of that, if you could subscribe to the channel, that way when I upload videos, you can get notified, make sure that bell is hit. Like my videos, I'd appreciate it. Share with your friends. That is always appreciated. So today we're going to do a screencast. So let's get into it. All right. So this home is the home that we are going to be looking at today. So this is in Peoria, Arizona. So it is, the listing agent is Tiffany Gobster and George Lawton. They're with my home group real estate. They're on my team, the Lawton team. So it's one of those, I am going to use their address just as an example today to see kind of where we're looking. So I'll just show you on a map. Let me move myself real quick. Showing a map where this home is, just so you can get an idea. So this is in North Peoria. So there's a star, that's where we're looking. So that is where we are on the map. So when we're looking at a lot of this information, there are three major things an appraiser is looking at for a home. So first thing is proximity. How close is it to the home in question? So let's say you're trying to buy this house and you're like, all right, I kind of want to know how to find the value. So what I did was I went in here in my MLS and I had a circle drawn for a mile. So that's a mile circle around it. So everything within a mile of that house. So the first thing that they're looking at is, okay, how close is it to the house in question? So the second thing they're going to look at is size. So we are going to be looking at the square footage. So let me get down here. So that home, I need to move myself over here. So that home is 1,790 square feet. So rule of thumb for appraisers is it's 200 square feet on either side. So if it's 1,790, we're looking at 1,590 square feet and 1,990 square feet, because they want to find something in like size to that house. And then the third thing is the likeness. Now, what that means is, does it match up to how many bedrooms, bathrooms? Does it have a pool, 1-story, 2-story? There's a lot of different things, garages, different things like that. I'll share a graphic here. This is just a quick cheat sheet. It is not exact numbers. This is ballpark numbers of kind of what we would look at for plus or minus, like, okay, if this house has a pool and this house doesn't, how much does that give, right? So a pool is usually about $15,000, $20,000, depending on the neighborhood, for each house. So there's different factors like this. We're not going to go into all of those details because that would just take way too long. So, but just something that you guys could see to know. So, all right. So I when I did the square footage here, there were a lot more homes initially. And the reason it's good to kind of dwindle down. So this home is being listed at 525 pretty much. There's homes all the way at 2.8 million in this area within a mile of this house. And there's homes all the way down at 350. So the reason that we are going to choose this, we're trying to get closer, is to get something as close as we can to what that house is, something that can match that house, whether it's a model match or whatever, to find what the home value is. Now, we're looking at actives right now, all right? So active homes within a mile, there's 5-6 homes. So one of the homes is the one that we're looking at. So here's what we're looking at. The highest one is 570. The lowest one is 439. All right, so there's a lot of different homes in here. Now, what an appraiser is going to look at is how many bedrooms. All right, this one is a 3-bedroom house. All right, so let's just look at just 3-bedroom homes. All right, on the market, we have 4 homes within a mile. So you have 570 to 489. This is the house that we're looking at, and these are just active homes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go through and compare each of the pictures and stuff like that. That's something that I would do on my own when I'm comping houses, looking at different things, whether it be for listings or buying. But just so you guys can see, these are the homes that come up. Now, if you look at square footage, a lot of them are pretty close, 1790, 1792, 1742. This one's a little bit bigger, obviously, but this is probably also in a different neighborhood. Neighborhoods do matter. So I give examples of this. So like instance here in Peoria, or even you look in Anthem or Scottsdale or other places, it's one of those, there might be a country club nearby. There might be something else nearby. So you need to know what's nearby, because sometimes I've seen this with realtors who list houses. They'll list a house and it's like, wow, that's way overpriced for the area it's in. And then I go and look, and within a mile, there's a country club or something. And, it's like, oh, okay, like the realtors put it that high. We don't see that often, to be honest, but it does happen sometimes. People can overvalue the homes because of that. Even people who own their homes, they think, oh, that house, within a mile of here sold. Well, it's in a different neighborhood. Maybe it's a gated neighborhood, something like that. So something to consider. So let me go through here. Yep. So looking at those four, now typically what matters for an appraiser is closed homes. Now they're going to look at active, pending, and closed. So if I add all of those in, so we'll do single family homes here, and then we'll get rid of coming soon. We'll do the pending and closed. And for closed, I'm looking at within 90 days. They've closed escrow within 90 days. And we'll see. All right, so we have a decent amount that came up. And we're not going to go through all of these. Okay, I'm just showing you just an example of how we're going to kind of pull stuff up. So it shows you a lot of the different homes, all the way from 618,000 to 489. A lot of the pendings and closed are up here in the upper section. Now, again, those are also going to be in different areas. Oh, it's showing me a bunch right now, which it shouldn't be. And that's probably because I changed some of the criteria. It does this sometimes. There we go. So with how we're looking at that is you're wanting to look at the plus or minus 200 square feet. And then you're going to start comparing, does it have a pool? Is it updated compared to things? Because listen, if it's an updated kitchen, that can cost $20,000 to $40,000. So there's things to be paying attention to when you're valuing a home. So the biggest, most important thing here is that a lot of people say, I don't think a home is worth X or whatever. And that's fine. You can totally believe that. But you should have data to support that. And that's why as a realtor, I'm trying to find, okay, what is a house actually looking like? I'm not steering people. I'm not changing comps. I'm actually literally just doing that. And if I can't find anything within a mile, I'm starting to go out farther. A mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. Typically, an appraiser stays within 1 to 2 miles. Typically, I've only seen maybe once or twice that they've gone outside of 1 or 2 miles. And they try to look 6 months back, and sometimes they'll go 9 months back. Just depends. Obviously, the market was a little different, 9 months ago. So it's one of those that there's going to be some different things and different factors. It's not always going to be the same thing every time. That's why it's important to have a realtor who understands that stuff and can look at the different factors of things that are changing. So, a lot of people say, well, I don't think homes are worth certain things. That's totally fine, like I said earlier. But you need to make sure that you can back it up. Now, listen, you don't have to buy a house if you don't think it's worth it. But the way you can tell whether it's worth it is if you have the data to back it up. So it's one of those, that's something that's important. People always say, well, I want a low ball. I'll put $100,000, $200,000 under and see if they'll take it. You might insult them. To be honest, you will. I mean, I haven't seen anybody take those. Listen, every time we get listings, I get usually 2 to 3 offers within the first 2 days. And they're all from investors about 100 to 120K under ask. So people are already offering under that much. Just realize that. And those people follow up every month. Every month it sits on the market, they follow up. Hey, what about our offer? What about our offer? So if you want to go in and lowball, you can, and that's fine. But realize they've already gotten those lowballs. Every listing I have has that happen. So it's one of those that is something that is happening. Be aware of that. The markets dictate the price. That's what dictates the price. Like I've seen people say, I don't think that house is worth it, but then that house sells and it appraises at a value, and okay. And that's okay, because most people, you have to be able to love the house. You have to say, hey, this is worth it to me. But go back to the data. That's the most important thing. If you have more questions on this, let me know. Would love to talk with you about it. Obviously, the appraisal is most important in today's market. If a house under appraised, you're paying the appraisal value. That's just a fact. Like no one's going to be like, oh yeah, pay over appraisal. No one's going to do that in this market. So it's one of those that right now a lot of people aren't as worried about price. They're more worried about getting their payment lower. So getting their interest rate brought down, someone paying closing costs, so on and so forth, which is a smart idea, but everybody's different. So that's different strategies to talk through. Guys, I appreciate you listening. If you have questions, reach out to me. My information is below. Would love to talk with you about it. You've been listening to The Real.